I was burning down there. Ended up getting pregnant by him. I had no morals. I am 2.5 seconds pregnant. Like, girl, I'm good off you. I don't even know if I'm ready to be a father. Chat rooms to meet guys, grown enough to be having sex and catching STDs, but I can't even go pick up my prescription. You can run, but you can't hide. Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to Soulful Key. If this is your first time here, don't worry, baby. I consider you a VIP, but if you're an OG and you know me, thank you for supporting Key. This is so uncomfortable for me to be sharing. It makes me feel like I'm exposing myself. You put yourself out there for people to say things, people to judge, and I know that is the last thing that I really should be worried about, but y'all know I'm human. So if y'all are ready to get into this, you already know by the title, some things went on very early. Let's do it. I'm going to break this up into two parts. In school, I was teased and bullied really, really bad. I was teased by the girls, by the boys. It was always I wasn't light enough, pretty enough, smart enough, cool enough, funny enough. It was just, I don't know, I just wasn't enough. That started back in elementary. The more that it happened, the more that I started to believe the things that people were saying. And it made me feel like, well, if everybody, y'all know, if one person says it, okay. But if there's like 20 people telling you the same thing, then it's kind of like, maybe I should look at me. Am I the common denominator? Am I the trauma? And tease and bully helped to set the foundation of my self-esteem and how I view relationships and other people, as well as everything that happened in my home with my father. And if you guys have not watched that video, I will link that right here so you guys can check that out and then come back to this video so everything will tie in together. I really started to believe the things that people were saying about me. It was as if I was always just seeking out male attention. I always wanted to feel like I was liked or appreciated or valued. I would look for guys that I felt like I could get, and my ego wouldn't be too hurt if they were to reject me. My freshman year of high school, my very, very first boyfriend, I think I saw him maybe within the first week. We were together for maybe only a year, I would say, and then I think he moved to a different state. We did keep in contact. However, it just wasn't the same as when he was actually at my school. He was a sweetheart, to say the least. There was someone who, at the time, we had a friendship that ended up turning sexual. I was still dating my boyfriend at the time. It was at one point in our relationship where he ended up moving back. I was like, that's great, because we were still dating. I was excited about him moving back. It was 3 days. I only had 3 days until he came back. And it's so crazy. Like, I had told him, like, hey, I want you to be the person to take my virginity. Mind you, y'all, I don't know nothing about nothing. Why am I even talking about this stuff? But because I now have images in my head, because I have now felt things, I want to feel things with a real person. 3 days before my boyfriend moved back, I actually gave my virginity to somebody completely different because I was hot and bothered. I had no morals. Looking back on it now, a lot of this stuff is really just like, you was real young and dumb. Just part of the reason why I don't even want to share it, because I was doing a lot of things knowingly and unknowingly. After losing my virginity, I remember always wanting to now have sex. Willing to get it, honestly, from anywhere, as long as it is a male. Sophomore year goes on. I end up letting my boyfriend know what happened, and of course he broke up with me. He was very heartbroken about that. Our relationship after that was kind of like, we tried to make things work, but it was kind of like, girl, I'm good off you. And he just moved on. The person that I actually, lost my virginity to, me and him stopped talking. I'm now back at, I don't have the male attention that I want. I start getting on all type of chat sites, tagged, I think Moco Space, just like whatever was out at that time, using chat rooms to meet guys. So desperately craved a man to tell me that I was beautiful, to tell me that I was wanted, intentionally seek out guys that were willing to talk to me. I remember meeting one who then became my second boyfriend. After I met him, it was maybe a week later. We had unprotected sex. It started happening so much. I was beginning to skip school, to have sex, just to feel connected to a man. I'm just like, girl, like, why? We dated for a little minute. I actually ended up getting pregnant by him. I was 17 by that time, so that would have been my junior year. That relationship, a lot of disrespect, a lot of mental and emotional abuse, and I allowed every bit of it just to keep that person in my space. The pregnancy, everything happened so quickly. I found out that I was pregnant, and the day that I found out, I kind of already knew. And I had a conversation with him and was like, hey, my period is already late. It's normally never late. Something may be off. And his response was, you should figure that out because I don't even know if I'm ready to be a father. I think the next day or later on that day, I actually did end up finding out that I was very much pregnant. When I reached out to tell him that I was pregnant, like I confirmed, crickets. I was calling and blowing up his phone. I did not hear from him until maybe almost a week later. By that time, I had already had a miscarriage. I found out that I was pregnant, I believe, on a Friday or Saturday, and by that Monday, I was miscarrying my child. I went through that whole thing with just me and my mother because I had to come out and tell my mom. I don't think I ever really processed any of that. It was as if life just really went on. I went back to school the day after and life went on. I did not really talk about it much. I didn't seek any type of therapy for it. I didn't take care of my body the way that I should have. I had no business doing the things that I was doing because I wasn't even prepared for what it could come with. I was not prepared to miscarry at the age of 17. I then heard from him maybe like a few days later, and he gave me a story about him not having his phone, was asking questions like, how is the baby? Are you showing it? This literally all happened the weekend. I am 2.5 seconds pregnant. Boy, I'm not showing. I was like, I missed you. I wish that you would have been here. I accepted it, whatever excuse he gave me, and I continued on having a relationship with him. I did not even allow my body to fully recover from the miscarriage before I was having sex with him again, unprotected. After the miscarriage, I was supposed to wait a certain amount of time before I am having intercourse again. I don't even think I waited 48 hours before he was coming to me asking me for sex, and I was giving it to him. I take full accountability for the things that I allowed because I genuinely did not know myself. I did not know God. I did not love myself. I didn't love God. Knowing what I know now makes it so much easier to digest the things that I went through because I had to have gone through them for a reason. But anyway, continuing on with the story. After maybe about a month and a half, I was at work one day. I realized that I was burning down there. I went to the bathroom very, very frequently. I had pain. Immediately knew something was off. So I went to the doctor. I tested. They called me the next day. Yeah, you have chlamydia. I felt so low, so disgusted because, of course, I had to tell my boyfriend that I had chlamydia. When I told him, he acted as if he didn't know where I would have gotten it from. At that particular time, I was not having relations with anybody else, so I knew that it didn't come from me. So he ended up going to the doctor, got tested, and of course he had it. The most embarrassing part about it after finding out that I had chlamydia was telling my mother because I was underage, so she had to pick up my prescription. Y'all know how embarrassing that is? I'm sitting up here, I'm grown enough to be having sex and catching STDs, but I can't even go pick up my prescription. Super embarrassed about telling my mom, but I love my mama. That is my rock. Shout out to my mama. Love you, mom. She really helped me through that time because I had no idea what I was getting myself into, sacrificing my health. This continued to go on all the way up until I went off to college. But toward the end of my senior year, getting into a lot of things. I'm going to put a pin right here, pick back up on some of the things that continue to happen in the relationship, and segue into the end of my high school years. I don't want to get too long-winded, and this is a whole journey, so I'm gonna leave y'all right there. I thank you guys so much for being on this journey with me and listening to my story. So appreciative of each and every one of you who clicked on this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you guys can always be in the know when your girl posts. Love you guys, and until next time, be well. Bye.